There are moments in life when someone's actions tell a story, their mouth refuses to speak. They act distant, they act busy, they act fine, but their behavior slips. And in those slips, you catch a truth they're trying to hide. A truth they don't want you to see. A truth they might not even be ready to admit to themselves. Their heart already belongs to you. People don't always confess their feelings. Some are scared. Some are unsure. Some are recovering from past wounds. Some don't think they're ready to love again. And yet, even when the mind hesitates, the heart always exposes itself through small cracks. Tiny moments, subtle reactions, quiet signals that reveal everything they're trying to hide. Maybe you've noticed the way their energy shifts around you. Maybe you've noticed the way they soften when they talk to you. Maybe you've noticed the way they remember small details you forgot you even shared. Or maybe you've noticed how they act completely unaffected, but their eyes tell a different story. The human heart is terrible at keeping secrets. Emotions leak through tone, timing, attention, silence, jealousy, effort, and the little moments when they think you're not paying attention. They try to look composed, but their voice betrays them. They try to look distant, but their actions betray them. They try to look strong, but the effort itself betrays them. And the reason they hide it is simple. Admitting they care gives you power. Admitting they feel something makes them vulnerable. Admitting they love you means you could hurt them, reject them, or walk away. So instead of confessing, they show it in ways they assume you won't notice. But high-level emotional awareness, the kind we teach here, lets you see the truth clearly. You begin to notice the patterns, the slips, the inconsistencies, the hidden warmth behind their walls. You start to see the emotional fingerprints they leave everywhere without realizing it. And the deeper truth appears. They are already attached. They try to stay logical. They try to stay calm. They try to protect themselves. But their heart is already 2 steps ahead. Maybe they don't want you to know. Maybe they're scared you don't feel the same. Maybe they're fighting their own emotions quietly. But the truth is unmistakable when you learn how to read the signs. Because a person who doesn't care is effortless, emotionless, unaffected, neutral. But someone whose heart has already chosen you, even silently, moves differently. Their behavior changes. Their priorities shift. Their guard weakens. Their attention intensifies. And their emotions begin to escape through the cracks. In this video, we're going to expose the 8 hidden signs that reveal when someone's heart already belongs to you, even if they're pretending otherwise. Once you understand these signs, you'll never misread their intentions again. You'll know exactly where you stand, even if they're too afraid to say it. Before we start, a quick reminder. The real transformation doesn't happen on YouTube. It happens inside the community. If these videos have opened your eyes, what's inside will rebuild your mindset completely. It's not just a course. It's a brotherhood. A private space where men master attraction, emotional control, and the psychology of power. You don't join for a month, you join for life. Every future course, book, and lesson is yours forever. No subscriptions, no limits, just one decision that changes your direction. If you're serious about growth, discipline, and purpose, click the link below, join the community. Enroll once, grow forever. Let's dive in. Section 1. Why people hide their feelings, even when their heart is already yours. Before you can recognize the hidden signs that someone's heart already belongs to you, you first need to understand the emotional battlefield happening inside them. People don't hide their feelings because they are cold or uninterested. They hide their feelings because vulnerability is frightening. especially in a world where opening your heart feels like handing someone the ability to break you. Even when someone cares deeply, even when their emotions are intense, even when their heart has already chosen you, they often try to bury that truth under layers of logic, fear, and self-protection. They tell themselves to stay calm, to stay distant, to stay guarded. Not because their heart is indifferent, but because their heart is terrified of hurting again. Most people have been wounded before, and every wound creates a protective instinct. If they've experienced betrayal, they fear giving someone the power to betray them again. If they've experienced rejection, they fear opening up only to be turned away a second time. If they've cared for someone who didn't reciprocate, they fear repeating that painful emotional imbalance. This fear becomes the quiet force that pushes them to act colder than they feel, to speak more casually than their heart intends, and to pretend they are unaffected when, in reality, you occupy far more space in their thoughts than they will ever admit out loud. And yet, even with all the fear they carry, their heart still reacts to you. The truth slips out in small, subtle ways, because the heart does not operate on logic or caution. It operates on instinct, connection, and emotional truth. When someone cares about you, their guard becomes a mask that can only hide so much. Their behavior reveals more than their words ever will. They may appear controlled on the surface, but their subconscious behaviors expose the intensity of their attachment. They pause when you speak. They listen more carefully than they intend. They react emotionally, even when they try to stay indifferent. And they experience internal conflict because they are trying to bury feelings that refuse to stay quiet. The more someone tries to hide their emotions, the more those emotions leak through the cracks. They act distant, but they get jealous. They act calm, but they remember details no one else notices. They act uninterested, but they respond faster than they plan to. They act logical, but their tone softens for you in ways they don't even hear themselves. These contradictions are not random. They are the signals of a person who is battling their own heart. They feel something real, something meaningful, something growing stronger, but they don't yet feel safe enough to show it. Understanding this inner war helps you see the truth. Feelings don't simply disappear because someone tries to suppress them. Real emotion always finds a way to surface, and the people who care the most often hide it the hardest. Their silence is not disinterest, it is fear. Their distance is not rejection, it is protection. Their self-control is not emotional coldness, it is an attempt to manage a connection that feels too powerful to admit. And once you understand this inner tension, the hidden signs become so clear that you can finally see what their heart has been trying to tell you all along. Section 2. Their emotions react to you, even when they pretend not to. One of the strongest and most undeniable signs that someone's heart already belongs to you is the emotional reaction they try to hide whenever you appear in their space, whether physically, emotionally, or digitally. People lie with their words, but they rarely lie with their reactions. Emotions move faster than logic, faster than planning, faster than the protective walls they've built, which means the first place the truth slips out is in the subtle changes that happen in their mood, their eyes, their voice, and their energy. Whenever you are involved, you can see it in the small ways they shift, even when they desperately try not to show anything at all. Maybe their entire energy softens when you enter the room, even if they keep their voice calm and neutral. Maybe their eyes light up for a split second before they pull that expression back into something more controlled. Maybe they act casual, but their body faces you automatically. Maybe they keep their words short, but their nervous gestures reveal how much they feel. Or maybe the opposite happens. They look away quickly. Their movements get a little awkward. Their tone becomes unusually steady, because they are trying too hard to hide a rush of emotions that they weren't prepared to manage. These tiny shifts are not random habits. They are emotional reflexes. When someone doesn't care, their reactions stay flat. Their tone doesn't change, their mood doesn't shift. Their eyes don't warm or tense. They stay neutral because neutrality is natural when the heart is uninvolved. But when someone cares, even the smallest interaction with you becomes emotionally loaded. They feel excitement, nervousness, curiosity, tension, or even a quiet sense of happiness, emotions that are difficult to mask no matter how controlled they try to appear. They may attempt to look indifferent on the surface, yet the emotional pull is strong enough that it leaks through in ways they don't even notice, but you do. This emotional reaction extends beyond physical presence. When someone's heart is tied to you, they react internally before they react outwardly. When your name appears on their phone, a sudden rush moves through them, a mix of anticipation, anxiety, and warmth. They may hesitate before replying because they want to appear calm, yet their emotions are racing behind the screen. When you post something, their mood shifts slightly depending on what you shared. When you give them attention, they glow silently. When you pull back, they feel unsettled in ways they try to rationalize but can't fully suppress. These emotional spikes, dips, and subtle fluctuations are signs of attachment. They try to hide it because showing it makes them exposed, but emotional instinct always betrays the truth long before someone is ready to admit it. A heart that is connected will always react, even when the mind is trying to stay detached. They may hide their words, hide their intentions, hide their vulnerability, but the one thing they cannot hide is how they feel when you show up. Section 3. They pay attention to the details. You thought they forgot. When someone's heart already belongs to you, one of the clearest yet quietest signs is the way they remember things you barely remember saying. People may hide their words, conceal their feelings, and act emotionally distant on the surface, but the heart stores information differently. It pays attention to the smallest details, not because it tries to, but because it can't help it. When someone is emotionally connected to you, their mind becomes a silent recorder of everything you say, everything you like, everything you dislike, everything that matters to you, even if they pretend it doesn't affect them at all. They remember your favorite drink without you telling them twice. They remember the little stories you told them months ago. They remember the things that made you laugh, the things that made you sad, the things you're passionate about, the things you casually mentioned without thinking they were important. They remember your habits, your tone, the way you pronounce certain words, the things you avoid, and the tiny preferences that most people overlook. These memories aren't stored on purpose. They are stored because your presence has emotional weight in their mind. People don't remember details about those they feel nothing for. If someone is uninterested, your words pass through them without sticking. They forget easily because there is no emotional anchor. But when someone is drawn to you, when their heart has quietly chosen you, everything about you becomes significant. The smallest comment becomes something they think about later. The tiniest detail becomes a puzzle piece they naturally associate with you. They become more aware of your world because, on some level, they're trying to understand you, trying to feel closer to you, even if they refuse to admit it. What makes this sign powerful is that it's involuntary. They may forget their own responsibilities, but they somehow remember something you said in passing. They may not reply instantly to your messages, but they recall something you mentioned weeks ago as if it mattered deeply. They may act distant, but they surprise you by remembering things you didn't think they noticed at all. These moments are not coincidences. They are emotional indicators. Their mind is storing emotional data because you matter more than they want you to know. And the more they care, the sharper their memory becomes around you. They remember patterns in your behavior, your emotional rhythms, your preferences, your reactions, and even the things you don't say. They study you without realizing they are studying you, because when someone's heart is quietly tied to yours, they naturally become more observant, more tuned in, more attuned to anything connected to you. Their attention becomes precise, and precision is always driven by emotion. This detail-oriented behavior is often disguised under casual tones or neutral expressions, but if you watch carefully, you'll see how deliberate their attention really is. They may pretend they don't care, but their memory reveals a different truth. They may hide their feelings, but their mind and their heart refuses to let your presence fade. They may act unaffected in conversation, but their ability to remember the smallest things about you exposes everything they are trying to keep hidden. Section 4. Their jealousy shows, even when they try to hide it. One of the most revealing signs that someone's heart already belongs to you is the quiet, controlled, almost invisible jealousy they experience whenever your attention shifts away from them. This jealousy doesn't always look dramatic or obvious. In fact, the people who feel the strongest often hide it the hardest. But jealousy, even in its calmest form, is a powerful emotional indicator, because it only appears when someone feels a sense of emotional investment. When someone doesn't care, nothing you do affects them. But when someone's heart is tied to you, even loosely, you will see the subtle tension rise in them the moment they sense that they are not the only one who matters to you. Their jealousy might show up in quick flashes, like the slight change in their expression when you mention someone else, the way their tone shifts when you talk about plans that don't involve them, the way they suddenly become quieter, more distant, or more observant when another person enters your orbit. They may pretend they are unaffected, but their entire energy tells a different story. Their eyes pay closer attention. Their body language stiffens just a little. Their mind starts analyzing details it normally wouldn't. These are not behaviors of indifference. They are behaviors of someone who feels threatened without wanting to show it. What makes this jealousy so revealing is the fact that they try so hard to hide it. They don't want to look insecure. They don't want to seem possessive. They don't want you to see how much emotional pull you actually have over them. So they try to stay composed, rational, and detached. But you can feel the shift anyway. Their voice becomes slightly more controlled. Their responses become shorter, but with a different kind of weight. Their eyes watch you a little too closely, even if only for a moment. Or maybe they distance themselves in a subtle attempt to regain emotional balance, because caring too much makes them feel exposed. This hidden jealousy isn't always negative. In fact, it's one of the clearest signs that they see you as someone precious, someone important, someone whose attention they don't want to lose. If they didn't care, they wouldn't react at all. Genuine disinterest is emotionless. But someone whose heart is already leaning toward you will feel a quiet discomfort at the idea of someone else coming close, even if they deny it. Jealousy is simply the emotional truth appearing before the logical mind can suppress it. Their jealousy can also appear in understated behaviors, like asking subtle questions about who you were with, becoming unusually curious about your friendship with someone, or showing extra effort when they feel someone else has your attention. They may not say it directly, but their curiosity is fueled by emotional investment. They want to understand their place in your life because they fear losing it. And fear of losing something only exists when that something matters deeply. Their hidden jealousy is not about control. It's about attachment. It's the emotional reflex of someone who is trying to protect their heart while pretending it's not already in your hands, and once you recognize this subtle shift, you realize they're fighting feelings they can't quite silence. Section 5. They seek your presence, even when they pretend it's accidental. Another powerful sign that someone's heart already belongs to you, even if they refuse to admit it, is the way they find subtle, almost invisible ways to be near you. They may tell themselves it's coincidence. They may tell themselves it's random. They may even tell you it wasn't planned at all. But people rarely place themselves in the orbit of someone they feel nothing for. When someone cares, their heart pulls them toward you even when their mind is trying to stay neutral, and they end up drifting into your space more often than they ever intended. This presence-seeking behavior doesn't always look like obvious pursuit. It often appears in small, carefully controlled ways, the kinds of actions that look natural but feel intentional once you look beneath the surface. They may show up in the same places you frequent, communicate at the moments you're most likely to respond, or linger longer than necessary when you interact. They might pretend they were just passing by, but the timing always aligns too perfectly to be completely random. They may claim they didn't mean to text you, but something always reminds them of you at just the right moment. These coincidences aren't accidents. They're emotional gravity pulling them closer. People who have no feelings don't go out of their way to be around you. They don't seek opportunities to cross paths. They don't adjust their routines to match yours. But someone whose heart is quietly tied to you will unconsciously shape their behavior around the possibility of being near you. Because your presence gives them a sense of warmth, comfort, excitement, or emotional safety that they can't get anywhere else. Even if they're afraid to show their feelings, they still feel drawn to the energy they associate with you. Sometimes this presence-seeking is subtle, like appearing in your social media stories right after you post something, responding at the exact moment they sense you might be available, or staying in places where they know you'll eventually show up. Other times, it's more obvious, like sitting closer than they used to, choosing to stand near you in a group, or engaging in small talk just to extend the moment. They may disguise all of this behind casual behavior, but the intention is written clearly in the effort they make. What makes this sign so revealing is the internal contradiction it exposes. They try to act distant, but their behavior brings them closer. They try to stay detached, but their instincts refuse to cooperate. They say they're busy, yet they still find time to be around you. They tell you nothing is going on, yet their presence shows up consistently. This contradiction happens because their heart wants one thing and their fear wants another, but the heart always finds subtle ways to win. When someone's heart belongs to you, your presence feels like home to them, even if they're scared to step fully inside. Their body language, their timing, their effort, and their small decisions reveal a truth they aren't ready to speak. They don't need to tell you they care. Their need to be near you tells the story for them.
Section 6. They open up to you in ways they don't open up to anyone else. One of the most powerful signs that someone's heart already belongs to you is the unexpected softness they reveal when they talk to you. They might hide their feelings, they might suppress their attachment, they might pretend they're unaffected, but the moment they begin to open up to you in ways they never do with others, the truth becomes impossible to ignore. People guard their vulnerability with extreme care, and they only lower their emotional walls when they feel a connection that feels safe, meaningful, and impossible to explain. Away, logically. When someone's heart is leaning toward you, the openings always appear in their conversations long before they appear in their confessions. You'll notice they start sharing parts of their life they normally keep hidden. They talk about their fears, their worries, their doubts, and the burdens they carry silently. They tell you things from their past that shaped them. They get honest about their insecurities, their dreams, the things that hurt them, the things that matter to them, and the things they don't admit to anyone else. These openings don't happen by accident. They happen because they feel a unique emotional comfort around you that they don't experience with others. Their guard softens because your presence feels different, calmer, safer, more grounding. People don't share deep truths with those they feel nothing for. Emotional openness is a currency, and we only spend it where the heart feels resonance. When someone chooses you as the person to reveal their inner world to, it means they subconsciously trust you with their unpolished truth. That trust is the earliest form of emotional attachment. Even if their words are casual, the vulnerability behind them speaks volumes. They're not just talking, they're letting you in. You may also notice that their voice changes when they open up to you. It slows down, it deepens.
It becomes more sincere. The facade they use with others fades away, and the real version of them steps forward. They reveal their softer side, their reflective side, their wounded side, and their hopeful side. The sides they protect fiercely because exposing them feels dangerous. But with you, that danger feels smaller, and the connection feels stronger than their instinct to stay guarded. What's even more telling is that they may open up to you unintentionally. They begin talking without realizing how much they've revealed, and afterward, they may become quiet or slightly shy, as if suddenly aware that they exposed more emotion than they planned to. That hesitation, that moment of reflection, that subtle vulnerability is the emotional proof that their heart is involved. They're afraid you saw too much, but the truth is that people never reveal that much unless the emotional bond is already forming inside them. Their openness becomes more frequent over time. They trust you with their secrets. They confide in you when they're stressed. They seek your perspective when they're uncertain. They look to you when they need grounding. These moments are not random. They are emotional bridges, built piece by piece, connecting their heart to yours. A person who doesn't care stays surface level. A person whose heart already belongs to you goes deeper without noticing. Their vulnerability is the doorway into their emotions, and once that door starts opening, it rarely closes again. In short, when you step back and look at every sign together, something becomes clear. People may hide their feelings, they may disguise their intentions, they may convince themselves that they are being subtle, but the heart is a terrible actor and an even worse liar. Every emotion they try to suppress finds a different path to escape. Every feeling they try to bury finds a way to surface. Every instinct they try to control slips out through their tone, their reactions, their silence, their jealousy, their vulnerability, and their presence. A heart that has already chosen you will always reveal itself, not in declarations, but in patterns. The truth is that humans aren't built to feel deeply and behave neutrally. When someone's heart gravitates toward you, it affects everything. How they look at you, how they think about you, how they respond to you, and how they navigate the small moments you aren't supposed to notice. Their calmness breaks when they sense someone else has your attention. Their mood shifts when you pull away even slightly. Their presence lingers around you because your energy feels like a place they don't want to leave. Their memory becomes selective, holding on to everything you say, everything you do, and everything that emotionally touches them. They may tell themselves they can hide it. They may believe they're staying composed. They may think you cannot see the signs. But emotional attachment lives in the involuntary. The reactions they can't control, the slip-ups they can't prevent, the softness they can't hold back, and the hurt they can't fully swallow. Their mirroring, their jealousy, their vulnerability, their desire to be near you, their quiet emotional swings, all of it is a map leading toward one truth. Their heart is not neutral. Their heart has already made a decision, whether they admit it or not. But here is the deeper lesson, one that matters more than the signs themselves.